See if this works. Ask questions. Let's see if anybody has questions.
How long does it take for things to kind of kick off?
Usually 5 or 10 seconds, and then 4chan will show up in this window. Or as Mark calls
Hi,
it,
4chan.
the Underground Fight Club.
Sure.
Some-
Offline.
What? Lies. Incorrect.
How do you have a auto reply that says offline? Like, who does that?
I think that's not true. I have a feeling that that's
offline.
trolling. Here we go. So we're here. All right, so this is Kyle from iFixit. So if any of you have questions, Kyle from iFixit, Drunken Lewis from Rossman Group, and we will answer your questions.
And a bottle of Poland Spring water.
And a bottle of Poland Spring water to make up for my...
whipped cream vodka.
I finished the bottle. The bar has no more alcohol, so...
Once you polish off the bar... No one in Manhattan has alcohol anymore. Lewis
I'm
has
confident.
polished it off.
Let's see. Oh,
Hey, good job, Brandon.
Lewis, I made my first motherboard repair today. Replaced my Vio's power jack cable. Those Vio power jacks are shit. So good job, because
That's great.
I know that the Vios are such a pain in the ass, especially the Z series. Remember those pieces of crap that used to have the speed and the stamina switch? Can you Oh, man.
Man, I met a repair shop in Nairobi that these guys were so poor they had a soldering iron to share between the two of them, and they had just the thickest nub of a... Like, the tip of their soldering iron was thicker than this thick part of this screwdriver.
Wow.
Extremely thick. And they were doing USB port swaps and charge port swaps on motherboards, and I was just so impressed.
That's insane. It's amazing what people... I find like all the really great board repairers seem to come from other countries because they have to make do with such crap. So you have to have a higher skill level just to get in the door.
Higher skill level. I mean, you have the equipment set up, and when everything is set up right, it's easy. When you're dealing with crappy equipment, it's so much harder.
Let's see.
And then you get maybe a little bit of decent gear, and all of a sudden you just skyrocket in the big leagues.
Kyle's mic isn't doing anything. It's recording. Kyle, can you fix my laptop? Says Noah.
Do you want to? Do you want me to tap it?
Let's see. Oh, you're...
Tap.
Yeah, your mic works. They're just being 4chan trolls.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm right here.
Yeah, they're just trolling. Poland Spring water. I thought you hated iFixit. Only the A1226 guide on how to replace the screen.
You've got a couple different
My
folks
grievance.
saying I'm not loud enough.
Okay, let's make you louder. Let's see. How do I make you louder? Now?
All right. I'm gonna keep talking. Am I any better, Mr. Delicious?
You should be louder now.
Jiggling something until content. I think that jiggling things are an important part of life. I don't really see how you can live a life of fixing things without, just beating on things. I got a story for you. Sure. My dad gave me his old truck. God bless his soul. So this is a 1999 Ford F-150. It's got 200,000 miles on it, and I had to transfer it into California. And so you got to go down to the DMV, and California DMV is obnoxious. They make you actually have to take it to the DMV, and they look in your vehicle and they look at your odometer. And so I wait 15 minutes for her to come out of the DMV. Who knows what she was doing back in there? She comes out, she looks in the truck, and the odometer LED shuts off.
I didn't turn your mic on. Well, there we go. Okay, Lewis is retarded. Let's fix that. This is now they're gonna say you're too loud in a second, but that's what they get. Here we go.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, now you're.
How's that?
Okay.
Turn up the gain. Is this any better? Come on, guys. I'll take apart your Sennheiser mic. I have a mic story for you too. Still,
that is fixed.
Are these delayed? Come on, guys. Yeah.
There's a half a minute delay from comments.
Okay. All right, we'll figure it out. So, go to the DMV with my dad's old truck, and I got to get it transferred from Oregon to California, and she sticks her head in the truck, and the odometer light is off. And I turn the truck off, and I turn it back on, and the odometer's still just nothing. And it's an LED. I mean, it's like one of those bullshit things. They had analog odometers, and then they switched to digital, and then the digital breaks. Yes, sounds better. Okay.
Awesome.
Hey, Michael. Okay, so she's like, Kyle, if you can't get the odometer to work, I can't register the truck. And so I just stuck my fist in there and I whacked the dashboard real good. And sure enough, the lights right up, and it's 198,000 miles. Okay, boom, done. She registered the truck. But digital technology, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta whack it.
Continue the DMV. Okay, we fixed it. Beautiful.
So my other microphone story is so this wasn't a Sennheiser. Shure makes pretty good microphones.
Yeah.
So the Shure SM58 is kind of the classic microphone that you use in a band, right? And I was at a conference. It was a round table put together by the EPA in Washington, D.C., and they brought a whole bunch of recyclers, and I was the only representative from the repair industry, and there were a whole bunch of manufacturers, and they got me in the conference room, and they were just talking all day, and they were asking what they wanted, the recyclers to do, and the manufacturers explaining why they couldn't help the recyclers, and I was just sitting at a table just bored out of my mind, and I had the microphone. They had a microphone at each table, so I had the SM58, so I was just taking it apart and putting it back together again over and over again all day.
I've never seen that thing break.
Yeah, they're incredible. They're incredibly robust. They do not break. Right? This is why the head thrashing rock bands use them, right?
Yeah, because you can't destroy it.
You
no
can't
matter
destroy
what you
it,
do.
so I didn't feel bad. So then at one point somebody says, "Oh, what does Kyle think about such and such?" And at that point I had the microphone completely apart, and so I had to say, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I'd like to answer your question, but the microphone's in pieces. Give me a second." And I put it back together real fast. It could be 20 seconds. Put the whole thing back together. Plug the XLR in, and then okay. So that's my excuse for why our microphone wasn't working.
I have no excuse for why my microphone wasn't working other than I forgot to turn it on.
Yeah. It
5
says
seconds
I'm
ago.
too high now, maybe?
Yeah, I turned you down.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. I'm sorry, but who is Kyle? Who is Kyle? All the people that own
I'm just
parts
a guy
companies.
with a screwdriver.
All the people who own cool parts companies in this business are named Kyle. Kyle Bacchus, Kyle Wiens. There's another Kyle that I'm forgetting
Bacchus
about.
isn't involved anymore. He's selling Leathermans and
He's a retiree.
power tools.
Let's see. What's at the end? Any question? Do you think this guy's ever been with a woman? Do I have to have been with a woman for you to credit me? I've shown up on stream with Jessa, but she keeps saying suck my dick so often that it makes me wonder what... Yeah, all right. I'm actually using a 58 behind a pop filter, and it records great. Screaming into it never clips.
There you
them.
go.
Lewis, come to ERC this year. Michael, you're here.
Do you want to come to ERC?
Tell me about ERC.
So
Sell me.
ERC is the Electronics Reuse Conference.
It's you and Michael's job to sell me on coming.
All right. Well, I'll just give you the background, and then you sell yourself or not. So it used to be, the way it started was a whole bunch of these are computer nonprofits. So these are like the Computers for Schools folks got together, and there's an organization, a nonprofit called TechSoup. And TechSoup was like selling Windows and Adobe licenses to these nonprofits. And so they wanted to just give all the Computers for Schools folks that were rebuilding PCs a chance to get together. And that's what ERC used to be, the PC Refurbishers Conference. And I told them, hey, PCs are dead. You need to name it something else. And so they said, how about the Electronics Reuse Conference?
That's a better name.
That's a better name. So we went with that.
Let's see what Michael Oberdick has to say on selling me.
Yeah, Michael, give us your best shot here. So the folks that run it are a refurbisher out of Chicago. They're really nice folks. It's pretty non-commercial, and it's just, the goal would be for it to be a place where technicians are sharing their knowledge, and I want companies to send their technicians, not just the CEOs. And I want to give it a chance to give us a chance to actually exchange skills and learn. So we every year we have a late night soldering session. This year was actually kind of fun. Did you hear the story about the snake oil re-waterproofing guy?
Tell me about the snake oil. I feel like Jessa told me this story, but I wasn't paying attention.
This was great.
I have this bad habit of only listening to the first and last sentence when she talks.
Okay, so we're in
watching.
Houston, and the conference is at a mall. And so we're wandering through the mall, and there was 5 repair shops in the mall. and one repair shop had just gotten this $30,000 machine that you stick the phone in, and then it's got like foam on in the center, and then it like coats it in paraffin wax in some kind of film, and then you take the phone, and it like is supposed to suck the paraffin into the phone and waterproof the phone, and so they do it, and then they say you have to wait 24 hours until the wax is completely sealed, and then you can dunk it in water. So of course you can't test it in real life.
This sounds like a scam.
Right. So all of us phone repair folks that actually know what we're doing went down to the shop and we're like, yeah, that's interesting. Why don't you come up and show the real guys that it really works? And so Michael, was it you that convinced them to come up?
Yeah, let's scroll down and see.
I think Michael Oberdick convinced them to come up to our late night soldering session. And he went ahead and brought it. So he put the thing on a cart and he hauled it up 20 stories up. And
I'm there. You should be sold by now, says Michael.
Yeah, there you go. And he brought the thing up, and we went ahead and ran some phones through it, and he showed us how the whole thing worked, and we were all kind of scratching our heads like, this is crazy. But the girl who worked there had her phone, and she let us dunk it in water, and we dunked it in water.
How much is this machine?
Too much, $30,000.
Nobody's gonna buy that. Like,
I know.
I feel bad saying this, but this guy from Pace contacted me the other day with this 34,000 BGA rework machine, and I just said, are you serious? Like, nobody's that's almost a year of like an entry level employee. Nobody's gonna buy that.
Right.
See, what do we have here? Kyle sounds like a smart guy.
Thanks, Game Pillar.
They have nicer things to say about you than me. Let's see. Oberdick sounds like a fake name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although it's snake oil.
That's what your mom said.
Although it's snake oil, they were good sports about it and took a lot of shit from all of us. So anybody who's trying to sell a $34,000 anything to people in this business, what is wrong with you?
And yet, people pay it, and then you're like, how many screens did I have to fix? And all I had to do was convince one guy to buy my snake oil machine. But we were reasonably polite to him. It was pretty cool to get a snake oil guy in front of 100 repair shop folks and have us not lynch him in person.
Do you remember the self-diagnosis guy from the 2014 CTIA where here's the funny thing. They were paying a magician that knew nothing about cell phone repair to just do magic tricks for this company. I think it was Celebrite. They had a box that's supposed to tell you what's wrong with the cell phone. That was like $1,500 plus yearly updates that never actually worked, according to him, I think Miguel Brito, who told me about it. And they had a magician that was just standing there doing magic tricks, and it was really cool. But then somebody asked, do you know how to fix a cell phone? He's like, I have no idea. And then everybody just walked away from the booth.
Well, so the magician trick there is just to have the fixed phone underneath the table and do something, trick people, and then swap out.
Here's a question that's not a 4chan troll. How long does it take for iFixit to tear down a new product, and how many times does it not go back together, and do you need another one?
Okay, Tom, good question. So we buy the product the moment it comes out. So like with the Nintendo Switch, like the day it comes out, we've got to pre-order weeks ahead of time. UPS brings it to us first thing in the morning, and we immediately start tearing it apart. We do not take time to take it apart or to try to fire it on. We immediately take it apart. So people always ask me afterwards, what do you think of the Nintendo Switch? I have no idea. I didn't use the thing. I just took it apart. So we get inside, and it's a systematic process of pulling it apart and photographing it all along the way. People want us to live stream it, and the live stream would just be boring because sometimes it can be 4, 5, 6 hours of very methodically, carefully taking it apart. And then writing the documentation. And it's a huge amount of work to figure out how to look at the IC and on the fly figure out what manufacturer is making it, all right, what goes into the whole thing. Sometimes we'll have 5, 6, 7 engineers working on a teardown all at once. And I'd say altogether on a typical device, it takes us about 8 hours from when we get it to when we can put things out.
Do you have to put them back together?
We do put them back together because we write the teardown first, and then we want to write the repair manual next. So we take it apart for the teardown, put it back together, and then we take it apart again to write the repair manual. And then we usually buy another one, take that apart to verify the manual works, and then when we're done with both of them, usually, unless it's like a Microsoft Surface, it works at the end of it.
What's wrong with the Surface? I've never opened one. Tell me about this piece.
The Surface is Microsoft's design team is incompetent. Because
no way.
They glued the thing together. So it's this gooey, tarry, goopy glue that's worse than the iPad glue. And then once you get inside, there's another 30 screws.
I think it's funny when companies try to copy all the things that suck about Apple and none of the stuff that's good. But let's not copy what makes people want to buy it. Let's not copy what makes people decide to spend $600 on a little
Yeah.
on a big iPhone with no 3G or 4G or LTE. Let's copy the glue,
Right.
because that's what's going to make us successful.
What's interesting, so on the JD Power consumer satisfaction ratings, for the first time ever, the Microsoft Surface just outranked the iPad.
Really?
Like, people like the Surfaces.
I've never seen one. I've never seen somebody. Maybe it's just a
I
New
see
York
'em.
thing. I've never seen somebody with a Surface. I saw one ad on a bus station for a Surface, and I thought it was a Surface because it was far away. I thought, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm going to see my first real person with a Surface, and it was an ad. I've never seen a real Surface. I'm convinced that nobody buys it.
No, they do. I see them more than any other tablet in business meetings, aside from the iPad.
Let's see. So
So
we
the
got-
iPad and Surface kind of 50-50.
Lewis, thanks for recommending Repair Shopper. Apple Tech, thank you for reminding me to mention the sponsor that's paying to be on the
Hey, and I
channel.
can back up. So Repair Shopper isn't paying me, but they've really got good software. I've been very, very impressed.
Yeah, I should really remember to mention them without the people mentioning it first, which happened the last 3 times in a row. Hopefully Troy's not watching.
But
Okay, we've got some fortune.
those guys really care. I mean, Troy ran a PC repair shop for a long time now, and they really get it. They're very responsive. Software is hard, and they've done a pretty darn good job.
I really thought that I was kind of trolling him. I said, yeah, this is good software, but I want QuickBooks integration, and I want inventory, and I want custom statuses, and I want PBX integration, and I'm not going to pay you until you do. I was expecting either A, no email back, or B, go fuck yourself. And instead I got C, which was, here's everything you asked for working as a feature. And I'm like, did you really add this? And I'm scrolling through and I'm like, this is kind of like, I was expecting to get hacked or something. And he
Yeah.
actually added everything, which was insane.
Yeah.
So
It took them a long time.
it's impossible. It's hard to say bad things about him, even though it's fun to say bad things. But let's see, what do we have here? The problem with pre-orders is to pull people into pay for shit that they can't smell yet, pooping against the wind, you know.
He's talking about me saying I pre-order things. I agree, and pre-ordering games is dumb, but with hardware, I have to pre-order it because I have to get one. I mean, I'm just going to get one, so all of you have permission not to pre-order it. I've got to pre-order one so I can take it apart to tell you if it's good or not.
See,
But nobody else should pre-order, but I kind of have to.
everybody's only interested in failure. What the hell? Why is everybody only interested in failure? Same as the yesterday's video. Like we had about 164 live viewers when it seemed like a fixable drive. And we had 800 viewers once it was obvious that Jason was not going to recover the data. So here's another failure. Is it common to take something apart only to find out it cannot be put back together? Also, where'd you get your Patagonia jacket?
There you
It's
go.
very nice, which I probably mispronounced.
No, it's Patagonia.
Patagonia, awesome.
If we take it apart and it can't be put back together, it's because we broke it in the process of taking it apart. So case in point is the new MacBook Pros with the what do you call the Touch ID bar at the top
Touch
of the
bar?
Touch bar, yeah.
Touch.
So we tried to take the Touch bar off and we broke it, and then we bought another one and we tried to take the Touch bar off even more carefully and we broke that one.
Does the power button work if you take the touch bar from one and put it on another?
You can't take the Touch bar off.
Really?
The touch bar is glued down so hard. That's why I said we broke 2
Oh, God.
trying to get the touch bar off. So do not try to get the touch bar off. It's not a heat-sensitive adhesive. You just can't get it off. We heated it like crazy.
I'm going
and
to
tried
pray
carefully.
that that's just the mistake. And
So
that's probably
in
real.
general, no. I mean, if it's reasonably repairable, we can get it apart. Even something like a Samsung S8, which we give a 3 out of 10 on our repairability
Louis-
index,
Louis-
we can get those apart and back together.
Do you still think that we can get original parts like GPUs programmed from the manufacturer? Okay, for 2 things. A, GPUs don't come with programming. And B, no. C, would you like to buy a Xiaomao ZMC6200? Right over here. We're going to have a great deal on this machine soon if I cannot find out where to get graphics chips. Because I have 3 AliExpress claims going right now for getting fucked over from people selling me fake bullshit graphics chips. So no, I don't think we're ever going to get. I think that by the time we're able to get that stuff, that like there's not even going to be a graphics chip anymore. Like the idea of having a discrete graphics chip is going to be just gone by the time we get to there.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the news this month is that Apple's got their own GPU unit going, and they're designing their own custom GPU in Austin. They fired Promise Technologies.
I mean,
Or not Promise. Who was it? Imagine Technologies? Imagine.
Apple should have their GPU privileges revoked. I mean, every single year there's some failure. 2007, 8, 10. They skipped 2009. They used the MCP 79. 11, 12. The 13 Mac Pro had. How do you fuck up the GPU that goes into a Mac Pro? Because it's built like a HEPA filter. The entire machine is designed to like a circular fan, and somehow they still managed to make a GPU that failed, which is amazing. Mark says the Surface is the worst device ever. It seems Kyle shares your opinion. 'Cause where do we leave off?
Yeah. So what I can say is that I make a lot of money selling Surface kickstands. So there's just screws on the back of it and the kickstand bolts. It just flips and people break those like crazy, and I sell those all day long.
Never seen a real Surface. Swimming forever means a lot of fluid. I don't get it. Brother, let's see. Repair Shopper is awesome. The team cares and wants to help. What is Kyle's opinion on planned obsolescence in electronics?
Planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is a little bit of a loaded term. I get to talk with manufacturers a fair amount and argue with them about whether their devices are repairable, and they don't really appreciate it when we say that they're engaging in planned obsolescence. I mean, planned obsolescence implies intent. It means if I say you're planning for this thing to fail, it means you're specifically designing in a failure mode, and that's a very, very bold claim. So what do you think? Do you think that, like the iPhone 7 is planned obsolescence?
I honestly don't think planned obsolescence is a thing. I think what they do is they design products that are cooler looking at the expense of repairability. It's not like a planned obsolescence. We plan to make this device look cooler by making it a millimeter thinner. We plan to make it a millimeter thinner by gluing the battery in. And if that so happens to screw repairability, who cares? It's thinner. I don't think they actually go out and say, how can we make this impossible?
Right.
But then there are times that I do where it's like, why did you use a proprietary? Like, for example, the PCI Express layout on the newest Retina MacBooks. I could be wrong since I finished a bottle of vodka, but I think that there are two lines that make it different from a standard M2 port. Why would you just change the pin out by one pin in your SSD? Stuff like that is really those are just real dick moves that I don't understand why they do that.
So I actually know the guy who coined the term planned obsolescence, and I had this conversation with him. And he breaks planned obsolescence into subgroups. And so what he would call the iPhone 7 and the next one being thinner, he'd call that psychological obsolescence. And that's a marketing move where psychologically you're trying to make the new one seem cooler than the old one. And that's actually a trick that GM invented back in the 30s and 40s. Ford was selling the Model T in any color you wanted as long as it was black. And they were completely creaming GM. GM's car was worse than the Model T. And so GM teamed up with DuPont and said, hey, what if we come out with cars in different colors? And so they started coming out with like red cars, and Ford's car was only black. And then they changed the colors that the cars were every year. And that was how we got this idea that there's a new car model every year. It was just that GM and DuPont were changing the car colors every year. And then they went after marketing to women and saying, hey, you need to get a new car because your friend's got a blue one and this year's color is blue.
No way. How old is this person?
I mean, I don't know. People buying these cars. I mean,
if he coined a term that was used in the 30s, he's got to be.
No, he didn't. He coined the term recently, but the tactic.
I thought you were talking to a fossil.
No, the tactic was invented before they had a name for it.
I see. I recognize a name from your business here. Eric's is here. Hi, Eric. Companies buy Surfaces, not just the NFL. And the NFL doesn't count, though, because did you see that thing where there's one guy from the NFL that's looking at a Surface and he just does this to it and he just lets it fall?
I did.
I mean, that's when a company is giving you $400 million and saying, please be nice about our products, and they still throw it at a wall.
Right.
That's fail.
Yeah, that was. I think they have Wi-Fi problems. I read something about the field RF engineers that they're dealing with.
Is that the Surface problem, or is that
I think it's a wireless interference infrastructure in different NFL
infrastructure and like 70-year-old coach
wireless
that doesn't know what to blame.
Wireless is freaking hard. You have many different and then you get a real game that's happening, and you have 100,000 people that have cell phones on.
And that place is huge.
Right. I mean, I would not try to make a wireless device work.
Yeah.
An NFL game.
Question: why are this goes back to what we discussed at dinner? Why are Samsung LCDs so expensive?
Samsung LCDs are expensive because Samsung owns the entire supply chain. They're OLED, and there are very, very few factories that can make OLEDs. There's nothing like what you get with the aftermarket iPhone LCDs. You have to have an OLED screen, and there's just so few factories that can do it. Once we get to a point where there's some aftermarket factories that can make OLED screens, it's going to be a different story. The other thing is that Samsung puts their logo on the screen. And so it's been very, very challenging to import screens. Even if you have a legitimate source for OEM screens in China, you can't import them because they have the Samsung logo on them, and you have to have permission from Samsung to import something with your logo on it. So this is where the S8 is kind of interesting. Because the S8, finally, thank God, they got rid of the logo on the display.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really interesting.
Why would they do that?
On the display. Because they wanted to make the bezel thinner. And so they wanted to make the chin and the forehead of the phone a little bit thinner, and so and so they had to get rid of the logo, which makes the phone look 1,000 times better.
I remember what I was saying at dinner is there was I remember speaking to the vice president of sales at Intersil 7 years ago, and he said that just about everything for our industry is they want to buy 14,000 of this. They want to make 14,000 of this device today. They get, let's say, 15,000 screens. 1,000 screens just goes out the back door. The middle manager's like, we got 14,000 screens today, not 15. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I got such bad handwriting. And that's pretty much how we get everything. And a combination of that and the fact that Apple allows suppliers to sell defects, whereas Samsung doesn't sell defects. So for example, if you buy a box of LG screens and the side of it, you'll see like an A, a 5, a 9. If you see a number 9 or 5, that's LG's crap pile, which is sadly what gets sold to most of us. So Samsung doesn't sell defects, and they control the entire supply chain, which means less theft, which means that it's very hard to buy their stuff. Now, more difficult questions. Michael Oberdick, I want to hear the full story about the iFixit app being pulled from the App Store.
All right. Well, Apple sent us a pre-release. This was the Apple TV. This was the latest Apple TV, and this was when they were launching apps, an app store for the Apple TV, and they sent us a pre-release device, and we went ahead and took it apart, and then it turned out that violated their the Apple developer account terms and conditions, and so they said, we sent you an account because you're a developer, and that violated the developer account terms and conditions, so we're using that as an excuse to remove your app from the store. Now, truth be told, they'd been wanting to remove our app from the store for a long time, and this was kind of their official excuse to do it.
It was a way to avoid a PR nightmare while avoiding.
Yeah. It's not ideal. On the other hand, it's really I'm a software guy. I build the software that runs iFixit, and it's a huge amount of work for us to just keep the iFixit website like modern and clean and responsive. And we have an Android app that's really badass, and we really don't have the bandwidth to maintain an iOS app as well. So we decided to put our effort into the website primarily, and then the Android app as well. And we've redirected all the effort that we were putting into the iOS app into the web app, and I think we're better for it.
Does Kyle get upset when Cartman sings that Kyle's mom is a... You tricked me into reading a 4chan question. God damn it. Okay, 4chan question.
My mom's not bad.
Okay, next.
She's a nice lady.
Are GPUs harder to fix than motherboards? Yes, because you can't buy good parts. You can only buy parts made of pure AliExpress.
Is the motherboard?
I think he means graphics cards in general, but it's the same.
Are you fixing discrete graphics cards?
No, but it's the same problem as fixing a motherboard graphics chip, which is you have to find chips that are not made of AliExpressism. Is Kyle responsible for the iFixit toolkit? The screwdriver is too slippery.
Yeah, so good question, Mr. Game Killer. So you've probably got the silver one that is smooth. The new toolkit that we replaced it with has knolling around the edge. It's much better, and it's much grippier. It's got angles. So if you have the old toolkit, give the new one a chance. It's quite a bit better. You're right. That was a problem with that one. We had the rubber grips on it, and it just wasn't good enough. So we upgraded it.
You need to write a book. I want to do an Apple book. But instead of I want to take the regular Apple book and then for each year put the list of class action lawsuits and failures with the product, like C7771 failing, causing all the 2008 through 9 MacBooks to just stop turning on. You're holding it wrong. The graphics chip failure. The capacitor that caused the graphics chip kernel.
Fun.
Like every year, put a list of failures.
Have you seen the book?
I have seen the book, and I got a call from somebody who actually wanted me to write a book, and it was like, the book Apple doesn't want you to read, like this really clickbaity title, but the inside of the book, I'm not kidding, what they wanted me to teach people over the age of 50 how to jailbreak their phone, which seems like such a bad idea because the guide is going to change every month when they release a new version. Right. But I think that would be a really cool book, like every single year from 2006 to the present, every single failure that affected consumers.
The Apple book was interesting for us because we'd done teardowns of all these things, and we'd done our own photography. And then
did you tear down the book?
Apple photographed their own thing. We had the book, and we were like, we could cut. It just didn't seem worth it.
Let's see. People want to see failures because it makes them feel more validated after having a bad day. Nothing better than having a bad day than watching Lewis fail. Touch bar switch challenge accepted by Michael Oberdick.
All right, do it, Michael. I want to see it.
I need you to do it, and then you tell me how you failed.
Michael, I will publicly happily credit you if you solve that problem. I can tell you, don't use heat. So try freezing it. Try acetone. Try chemical techniques. The heat didn't work for us.
Zalma does a great job of holding the bench down and keeping it from moving. Yes, because the wind would just blow it away.
What's Zalma?
That piece of shit behind
Oh,
you
that
that's
thing.
useless.
Okay.
The thing that I use to charge the Bluetooth headphone. Half the time, I plug my Bluetooth headphones into the USB port in the front, and that's what it's used for.
And that's not going to fry your
No.
headphones?
Send Zalmao to Michelle James at CTIA or Senator Chambers. Michelle, are you watching? Do you want me to sponsor your show? Michelle James.
Michelle, feel free to reach out. And
Feel free
Lewis
to
is
reach
happy
out.
to talk.
We're nice people here. We want the best for you. Don't you want the best for the conference that sends lobbyists against the right to repair to different cities?
There's got to be a way to get everybody on board. I mean, you look at the cell phone carriers do more repairs than anybody else. They should be in favor of right to repair. The cell phone shops, anybody in Wireless Dealer Magazine ought to be completely on board with right to repair. So I think it's some signals got crossed somewhere, and it should be fairly easy to.
Aren't they also helping lobby against cell phone unlocking? Or?
They were back in the day, yeah. But that's the carriers. It's completely in the carrier's interest to ban unlocking of phones. It's not in the carrier's interest to block right to repair. So I'm sympathetic with why CTIA fought cell phone unlocking, even though I disagree with them. I'm not really sympathetic with them fighting right to repair because it's against their interests.
Kyle, are there any plans to sell more of the black iFixit mugs?
Hey, that would be fun. So, Seth, the problem that we had with the mugs was that they broke in shipping. So we kept packaging them. We actually have all of the mugs that we got. I don't know how many we ordered, but we ended up having like 30 of them that had handles that were broken off. And so all of the mugs at the office are iFixit black mugs with handles that are busted off of them. So, because we weren't going to sell them to people. So we gotta figure out a better way to ship them.
I wanted to sell a mug that said I was born ESD safe because people keep asking why don't I have an ESD bracelet. So if they break in shipping, I learned. Just
tell them your chair. You got the Aeron. The Aeron is ESD.
I'll sell something else.
ESD rated.
I wanted to sell an I was born ESD safe mug. Let's see. Kyle is looking for a drink. I finished the alcohol. There's none left. Why are Android LCDs so expensive? The same thing. They are not demanded as iPhones. You would think they are cheaper. Lack of demand is what's going to drive the price up. If less people are willing to buy it, that means it's that one guy who's going to steal all the LCDs is going to have a lot. It's not worth it for him to just make one trip, I would imagine. This is more 4chan over here. Let's see. BGA rework will stop when flip chip design changed. Until then, rework is continued, so don't lose hopes. ITC. Where do I get 0005 and 0001 chips for the 2915? Tell me. PM me. I won't tell anybody, I promise, because I know I'll ruin the supply chain. I'll even buy you a couple. But yeah, where do I get them where they're not complete shit? Let's see.
Could we pull them off of boards? If I got you a source of boards, you could get
That's
them?
the problem. They're old. They die after 3 years. So what I got were pills from 2011 that they then rebranded 2016 date codes onto. So they were all dead by the time they got to me. If 99 makes a good product and $1 more makes it last, do you expect Apple to spend the $1 or pocket the profit?
You know, I am not as pessimistic about Apple's quality as everybody else. I really think that they try hard to make a good product. So I would say that Apple would spend the dollar. I think what Apple would do is spend the dollar and then sell it for $103. They really want their 30% margin, and they're not afraid to sell it for more to get it.
Here's a question. Why haven't they done what Lenovo did 13 years ago with liquid proofing? Like, you could spill a gallon of water into a Lenovo, and it just goes around the keyboard and comes out a hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
I feel like for Apple to make us not exist would be one day of engineering for them, and they haven't spent that in 13 years.
I don't think it's one day of engineering. I think that they're looking at what it would take to waterproof the keyboard, and they're looking at the manufacturing complexity and the thickness trade-off, and they're saying if we can make it thicker or waterproof, we'd rather make it thinner.
Because like with Lenovo, they just put a layer of black tape over the motherboard. It's not even fancy. Why not tape the motherboard with black tape?
Yeah.
Let's see. No one tell Jessa I stopped working to watch YouTube. Okay. Whoops.
Let me text her real fast. Where is it?
Yeah, do you have her phone number?
Yeah, let me text Jessa.
What's that guy's full name? How do you
Mark Schaefer? Yeah, I got Mark's name. No problem.
Paul's, hello, nice to see you. See we have a guest. Excellent interview on the Engineering Commons. Would Kyle ever consider opening a Midwest office for iFixit? Oh my God, he's actually texting.
Where in the Midwest should we open a shop?
Olathe, Kansas. What are your thoughts on quantum computers? I'm not qualified to have thoughts on quantum computers. I am not a quantum being.
All right, Jessa.
Justin says you have a goofy ass voice. You have a goofy ass life. Fuck you. Paul says we are going to stream Mark's Samsung repair. What if it's the only viable way to get enough money for R&D and keep the design team employed? So you plan for the thing to break in 4 years and make sure you roll out a better product by then.
I think that's HTC's plan. You look at the HTC One. What are they thinking with that phone? HTC told Engadget that they have a secret device that makes repairing it easy.
Yeah. If you need a secret device to make repairing your device easy, your device sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what do you mean secret device to make repairing it easy?
I think some companies are honestly desperate, and I kind of justified the first Microsoft Surface design that way. I was like, okay, Microsoft is desperate. This is their first Surface. It sucks, but it's okay. They'll fix it with the second one. And then the second one was just as bad, and I lost all faith in them.
Nice 1960s Price is Right microphone. I have a second wireless microphone. I haven't soldered the 1/8" jack onto it yet.
This is actually a pretty quality microphone. It doesn't look the fanciest, but I think it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's being used for what it's not supposed to be used for, which is a handheld.
This is a telephone.
I have an 1/8" jack that I need to solder onto my other wireless one, but that takes time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you regret supporting Trump? I have not supported. I just did not like Hillary. But we have videos on that. We have hour-long videos on that.
It's hard to like Hillary.
It sucks when you vote for the... it's one thing. It's like this candidate wants to go to war, this one doesn't, but then the other one goes to war anyway. That kind of sucks. Yeah, I like avoiding fake wars. I like Ron Paul. You know who I like? You know who I voted for in 2008 and 12? Ron Paul. And you know who got fucked in the primary in 2012? Ron Paul. You know who scammed the election to try to win the primary? Mitt Romney. But that's another video altogether. Continue scrolling. Mark says, iPad Rehab read Mark's comments and never yelled at him for it. That kills me. Oh shit, Mark, boss is here now. Paul says Samsung screen seems amazingly fragile. Oh, that's the other thing about repairing OLED devices that sucks. When you drop an iPhone screen, if somebody gets a phone fixed by you and they drop it, the iPhone screen will then crack again. Samsung screens don't crack outside, they crack inside, where you cannot see them. So you'll replace a screen that costs you $270. You'll charge the customer $300 to $350 or whatever. And then they'll come back after they drop it, but it won't have a crack on it. It's just it doesn't have a crack on it. You can't do anything. You can't tell them you cracked it again, even though they did crack it again, because you can't see it because it's on the inside. It just has no image anymore. And now you're screwed. You can't send it back to your vendor, because when your vendor sees the defect on the screen, they'll know it's cracked. You can't tell the customer you have to pay again, because they're not going to pay again if it's not cracked, which is one of the reasons that repairing Samsung devices, aside from the high parts cost, is a complete nightmare and just something to think about.
We've been consistently awarding them 3 out of 10. It's been so sad. They used to be really good, and I always used to say, hey, you want to get a Samsung S3 or an iPhone, you could pick either one. They're both good devices, and it's really been a shame. So right now, it's the Google Pixel is what I've been recommending, and that's what I've got. I switched to a Pixel, and it's great.
Do you sell Samsung screens or just iPhone?
We do sell Samsung screens for too much money, and it's not our fault.
How often do you have somebody send you a screen back that's not cracked, but that has a defect that's clearly caused by physical damage, like the blue line down the middle of the screen?
An iPhone screen or Samsung?
Samsung.
I don't know.
Because that's what frustrates me about it. Like, at least the iPhone screen has the courtesy of cracking when you drop it, so it's obvious. Yeah. But with Samsung, it'll just no image at all and little blue line or some crap down the middle, so that you can't tell the customer you broke it again, even though they did. The supplier knows you broke it again, so you're stuck in this terrible position that...
Well, and this might be the case with the iPhone 8s.
Yeah, that's going to be a nightmare.
Welcome to Samsung making all the screens for everyone on the market.
What do you think about Switch remotes being repaired due to connection loss by using metal foam to reduce interference?
Yeah, okay, so that's interesting. So it's not really metal foam, it's just foam. So do you know what he's talking about? This is with the Nintendo Switch?
I haven't opened the Switch yet, so...
Do you have one? Okay, so the Nintendo Switch is cool. It's a really fun device, and it's got the left and right, game pads. And the left one has intermittent Bluetooth problems on something like 3% of the units that were shipped. And it turns out the reason is that there's a Bluetooth antenna that's a trace on the board, and then there's a flex cable that runs over the top of it, and on some of the manufactured units, the flex cable is basically sitting on the board, and it causes interference on the antenna, and so you get like 3 inches of wireless range.
This sounds like an Appleism.
So the fix is take the left joystick apart and put a little foam spacer in between the cable and the board, and it fixes it. And so you can mail it into Nintendo, and they'll do it for you for free, or you can take it apart yourself. But it doesn't need to be metal foam. It's just foam. They want us to be Jimmy Fallon.
AliExpress's EM. What element number is that?
Okay, people want me to jailbreak and then install your app. You're totally welcome to do that. You don't even have to jailbreak your phone to install our app. You just have to have a developer account. So our app is open source on GitHub. Just go github.com/iFixit. You can download the app, build it for your phone, install it, no problem. I think somebody's got us in the Cydia App Store. So yeah, you want to bypass the App Store, no problem getting our app. Or you could switch to a more superior Android device, and the app would be awesome.
I lost track of questions. Sometimes when you're scrolling, when you get to the end and there's been more questions,
it just goes too far.
It unscrolls you. Okay. What do you think that's...
All right, is Kyle going to CTIA? Is iFixit going to CTIA? So before we found out that CTIA was opposing right to repair, we bought a booth at CTIA. We tagged up with a repair shopper on that. So we're not going to let the booth go to waste, but we're not enthusiastic about it, so we're not really sure what we're going to do.
AliExpress EM, what number is that?
But I would recommend, if you're thinking about going to CTIA, come to the Electronics Reuse Conference instead. It'll be much more technical. It's a more intimate group. You'll get to actually meet up with folks and hang out with the industry. Just Google Electronics Reuse Conference. They're a great group of folks, and it really is more technicians rather than business people.
This guy's comments always suck. You can just ignore it. How bad does Kyle want to send Jacome tops? Do you want to answer?
I'm not going to comment on that one.
I don't understand what he's even talking about. Well, Michael Oberdick, you have to message me what the hell you... Who is that and why... What is Jacome?
Let's talk about Linus.
Okay.
What do you think? You met Linus, right?
He was a nice guy.
Linus is a pretty cool guy. Yeah, we've been... I really like Linus. I like the PC hardcore gaming crowd. I just think it's so cool, the idea that you're just... going all out and saying that, this modular PC is important and we can go... I built every PC I've ever had. I built myself. It's been a lot of fun. It's such a wonderful alternative to Apple. A lot of my developers at the office run Ubuntu. We've been building so many machines lately in the office, and we've been using a lot of Linus's advice for it. So I'm really a fan of his, and I'm looking forward to his upcoming Scrapyard Wars. They do a competition where his guys have to build a machine under adverse conditions, and I think it's going to be fun.
Never going to forget him saying that he was buying something at McDonald's or Wendy's, and somebody behind him said, "I know that voice anywhere!" And I asked him, I said, "So, were you friendly or was it creepy?" And he's like, "It never stops being creepy."
Yeah.
And we laughed.
Yeah.
That was funny. What does iFixit think about AVE?
I love AVE. AVE is my favorite YouTube channel. Is that okay? You going to be offended if I say that? Do you know AVE?
He's the guy who curses at his... I know him for cursing at his camera, which is...
So he's a Canadian miner.
He invented cursing at your camera when it doesn't focus, which is absolutely...
Curse you, fack. I have always wanted to say that. Yeah.
He always does it way better. I can't say what he says, even though I feel it sometimes, because he does it so much better.
I am just blown away at how smart that guy is. So, when I grow up someday, I want to be AVE. It is the best channel. If you haven't gone on and looked at some of his power tool teardowns, you're missing out. They are just phenomenal. Cannot say enough good things about AVE.
Is Taylor Whitney your primary photographer?
Taylor has done a bunch of photography for us. She's awesome. She was running our Instagram channel for a while. Now we've got some other folks, KK and Julia and some other folks are running it, and they're doing a great job.
If I get the touch bar swapped in a new MacBook Pro, will you get me a position at iFixit?
You're welcome. Apply with a guide on iFixit showing how to swap the touch bar, and we can talk.
Is iFixit going to be at CTIA this year?
Yes, I said we will be there. We're not enthusiastic. We're really frustrated with the stance that CTIA has taken opposing right to repair. We think it's really counterproductive to the industry, and we're hoping that they change their mind. So we're there to kind of engage with them and discuss the situation.
Is iFixit going to throw paper balls at Michelle as she walks by? And if not, get the fuck out of my office.
No, we're diplomatic.
They're diplomatic.
We think
that's why they called.
We think Michelle is a smart lady, and she really has an opportunity to come around and support the industry.
Cut his mic. Cut his mic. Audio engineer. Let's see. Hello from a Slovenian. Is this guy from the Repair family? Did you see the Nebraska video where Michael Oberdick was getting trolled by Senator Chambers? He's like, Michael, why are you in Nebraska? I'm here for my Repair family. You have family in Nebraska? My Repair family. So you said you have family in Nebraska? That was...
They just wanted to drive a wedge.
I really liked Michael's counter-trolling of Senator Chambers.
It's great. There are so many really great repair shops. iFix Omaha is fabulous. They're really great guys. We've got a lot of good friends in the
Do you still like the Hacko FX951? Yes, I like it. I burned the side of it. A student actually did, and it still works.
It's sitting right here.
It's sitting right here, and I should take its logo off unless they pay me. Let's see. Where are they getting these comments?
The touch bar in a vacuum. Sure, why not?
You're scaring me about removing that thing now.
I mean, we burned through $5,000 just like that.
Do you really? I mean, if you buy a replacement, do you really care if you destroy the old one? I guess that's my question.
Buy a replacement what?
Well, let's say that's part of keyboard replacement now, is replacing the touch bar.
Sure. I mean, if that's the whole part, but that means that you got to have an ARM CPU, which is proprietary. So there's no. I mean, I know there wasn't aftermarket uppercases anyway, but
I'm wondering if they tie the
more.
if they tie the power button to the CPU on the new MacBook, there is going to be picketing and pitchforks at every Apple store.
I think the saving grace of the touch bar is that no one wants it. I haven't talked to a single pro that's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go buy a MacBook and get the one with the touch bar.
I can't wait to get no SD card. I mean, you took away the SD card slot, which just killed all of the media people that were recording directly with the SD card. You got rid of the USB ports. You soldered the drive to the board. Why would you do that?
Apple's Mac Pro mea culpa last week was, I think, a really clear sign that they took the negative response to the Retina touch bar launch as a sign that they need to change their stripes. Their course is just not working for pros, and they got too arrogant for too long. They're going to have to change their course and go back.
Nobody wants... I mean, why would you take away the SD card slot? That's just mean. Like, at the very least, have an option where for $300 extra you can get it. But, I mean, they don't even give people options that want to pay for it, and people would pay for it.
Hackintosh sales are off the charts right now. Did you see NVIDIA's announcement last week of they're releasing Mac drivers for their top-end PCIe graphics cards?
That's insane.
So what machine are you going to put that in? You're going to buy a brand new $1,500 NVIDIA PCIe card. What Mac are you going to put that in?
I've never seen a HEPA-filtered Mac before either. I've said I've never seen a Surface. I've seen maybe one HEPA-filtered Mac. I don't see people buying that. And I definitely... Yeah, they're
right. So what you're going to do is you're going to build a Hackintosh and put the NVIDIA card in there, and you're good.
Print off the handle on the other side of iFixit mug so people deliberately think the handle is missing.
See, it's like
can that guy get a job at iFixit? Because that's fucking genius customer service right there. Like, see, somebody calls saying my mug is broken, and you say, oh, no, it's supposed to be off the hook.
Off the handle. Let me send you an off the handle sticker.
Let's see. Have you ever had customs of the FBI contact you about buying large amounts of acetone?
We don't buy that much acetone.
I don't buy acetone.
You got to buy a lot of acetone.
I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer. I've never had that problem.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about it. Where are they getting the comments from?
When are you going to do the DIY proxy acetone video?
Do it yourself acetone.
Yeah.
Where are they getting where could we be getting the comments from? We're getting the comments from IRC. You need to come to Germany. I'll need a job here around in the dead IZ zone. I can't because of cheaper repairing whores. What? Right to repair upcoming in EU.
Right to repair is definitely coming in the EU. We're making really good progress on it. We've got an iFixit office in Stuttgart, and they're working very hard. We have somebody in Brussels working on right to repair. We're working on right to repair in Germany, and things are looking very positive. So, I mean, on all fronts, I mean, with the work that you're doing in Nebraska and Tennessee, with the work that we're doing across the U.S. and all the states that are introducing right to repair in Europe, in Germany. I just got back from Australia. They're working on right to repair there. This is a global effort, and it's something that's going to take the contributions of everyone to make this thing happen.
I have a good source for those chips from China. Believe me, Duke vouched for them. Yeah, how is your... I don't know how your Europe office is doing. My Netherlands office has been doing terrible!
Is that Chris? Is Chris your Netherlands office?
Duke is the Netherlands
Duke
office. I am half kidding, but he told me, he's like, yeah, buy these chips. This supplier is great. I'm like, I don't do GPUs because I'm sick and tired of buying fake chips or remark chips. They never work. And Duke's like, no, all these chips work great. You should buy all these spools from this seller. They're totally great chips. And then I'm doing chip after chip on stream, and he's like, oh, yeah, the chips are fine. Your soldering sucks. And then I get the Skype message from him one day, which is like, oh, fuck, all these chips I got are remark fake shit. And I'm like, really? Really now? Yeah, all right. Why doesn't he read YouTube comments? That's sad. Because they're all 4chan trolling, one-star, terrible shit. No. We read YouTube comments. What do you... Let's... I buy all my BGA from Golden Chipset. Yeah, I did too, like 2 years ago. Until I got sent crap. I wholeheartedly agree on Apple's engineering.
Jessa wants our iPhone dissected T-shirt back. I'll talk to the guys about it. That was fun. It was a stupid amount of work. It was 20 or 30 hours of illustration to make that shirt. So I'd like that shirt too. I'd like to get it back, but it was an effort.
Did you end up...
What product? So this is, you guys can all tell me. If we were going to dissect and illustrate one product, what would you want it to be? I feel like an iPhone's been done before.
Let's see. I did not return the P50. What else do we have? I'm applying for a job in repair. What do I need to know? Have solutions for all the things that the customers walking in the door are going to ask. It's as easy as that.
Be smarter than the guy you're interviewing with.
That's the same. You asked the same question twice. Ever taken HTC Vive apart?
iFixit has, but I haven't.
Is that the thing that you can kill with sweat? I think it was Barnacles. Somebody on YouTube killed that with sweat.
I don't know.
Which is I feel like that's something you really need to have better liquid proofing on. HTC is Chinese crap, someone says. Yeah, but what is it?
What's Samsung's attitude on right to repair? Samsung has not been helpful. We've talked with them on cell phone design for a long time. Their phones were good. Now their phones are not designed to be repaired. And they've been distinctly unhelpful. Their trade associations, Samsung's a member of CTIA, Samsung's a member of CEA and ITI, and those three trade associations are fighting right to repair with everything they've got. So if you have friends at Samsung, you know anyone at Samsung, reach out and say, hey guys, back this, and let's put Apple off on their own.
Let's see. Dumb question. What do you think of Paul Ryan? He's a complete cock. No, let's see. Ron Paul, love your mic.
Yeah,
Ron Paul, we like.
We're 15 minutes behind. Let's
see. Tell me how to take a Samsung screen without cracking the LCD.
Hey, check iFixit, man. We've got step-by-step instructions. It's not easy. It can be done, though.
I met a guy who nearly went out of business when Beats headphone speakers became unavailable and Apple acquired Monster.
Yeah.
Kyle, any way to source this?
Great question. So the Beats headphone parts, we were selling parts and we were telling pros, hey, you can fix Beats headphones. And then the moment that Apple acquired Beats, our parts market dried up too. So no, I don't have a fix. It's really frustrating. I'm trying to find a solution, but I'm not optimistic that I will.
Do you think there will be a national nostalgic push to refurb 2010 to 13 machines since they are quality builds and new MacBooks in many ways less advantageous to buy? Yeah, but the 2011, like the only reason that I bought all these chips for 6-year-old machines are because people were bringing them by the truckload. It's just I have to turn them away now because all the chips that I buy are crap.
I mean, still, Apple's sales of the 2012 MacBook Pros are still very, very high. So they know they've got a problem.
Now, if any of you want to beat the eBay rush, you could buy the 2012 Retina with the kernel panic problem and use the fix on our forum, wink wink, to make it not kernel panic anymore before the price of them skyrockets because we released the solution again. That's what I would do. I would get a 2012 Retina that kernel panics and then fix it using our solution, which will cost you about 5 cents in solder.
I would get a pre-2000, or I'd get the 2012 pre-Retina model.
Or that.
Yeah.
But not the 2011 one because that's a piece of with the graphics chip issue. Anything, avoid the but like those kernel panicking ones are dirt cheap because nobody knows what the fix is. Let's see. So glad I stopped doing Samsungs. Leave it to other suckers. What questions is he reading out? They're not coming from here. Oh, really? Now, I'm just making them up, to be honest with you. Are you even reading, or are you just kind of making shit up?
Reading.
Oh, crap. Where'd they go?
Yeah, go down.
Oh, no. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah.
There you go.
I have to remember what I last read so I can find it.
Yeah.
I wonder how much lag there is
How
in
much
the
lag
chat.
is there in the chat? Right now, we're about 15 minutes behind y'all's.
Probably. There's no. Oh yeah, there are
We're working our way
timestamps.
up.
Crap.
Though. Yeah.
Let's read through. Let's scroll through more 4chan crap. You should gather all these issues with Samsung displays and report them all in a type of sue. But what would we sue them for? Like, I mean, the customer dropped it again. It's really just an issue of customer service and fail. How do you sell a customer on you dropped your phone again when there's no proof of it just because the display fails in a better manner? Instead of failing in this terrible cracking manner, it just has a line down the screen. Leave iFixit booth empty at CTIA with giant right to repair banner. Michael Oberdick has a good idea. What do you think of my repair cruise idea? Jessica keeps trying to get me to agree to go on a repair cruise, but we would have to talk to people.
Repair cruise idea. I mean,
I can swim. I could swim back to shore.
I can't think of anything I hate. I really dislike the idea of being on a germ boat.
Yeah, and you can't escape. Like, let's say there's a bunch of annoying people. Like, at least with a conference, you can go back to the hotel. What do?
Yeah.
You have to jump.
In
what if the water's
I
cold?
like the idea of a repair cruise, but I would rather get, like, are microscopes going to work well on a cruise ship? Why don't we get a hotel somewhere or extend ERC a day? I will, if you organize it, I will thoroughly support it, but cruise ships are low on my list of exciting things.
Me. I don't want to get on a cruise ship. What do you... Focus, you fuck. Focus, you fuck.
So that's where we are. So now we're only 10 minutes behind.
Lewis does a great impression.
Kyle, what
of
was
Dave.
the last thing you fixed? I just so right before I left, I hopped on a plane on Friday morning to New York, and on Thursday I fixed the oven at the office. So I was feeling pretty good about that. And then the thing I was supposed to fix, we had urinals at the office that are clogged up, and I was supposed to fix those, but the part didn't come in time. So some poor sucker at the office had to fix the urinals.
Turn your seats here. Yeah, let's see. Michelle is from AT&T, right? She's from CTIA.
Well, Michelle is her own independent person. So Michelle runs her own business that runs Wireless Repair Expo that has a partnership with CTIA. That's the situation there.
I have loads of scars on my FX951. Yeah. Why
Mac won't chooch. Which TIG rod should I solder to its motherboard? That's a great question.
Why is the difficulty level of 2013 MacBook Air logic board replacement and 2014 different when it's the same steps? Probably, I will give a point. Maybe it was just a different person rating them each.
Yeah, maybe.
This is subjective. Like, if you want to say how hard is this in a scale of 1 to 10, and you have a different person rating it, one person's 2 is another person's 4.
You could post on iFixit Meta, meta.ifixit.com, and ask that question, and we can track down the authors of those guides and ask them. They have a pretty sophisticated rating system behind it, so I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a good reason.
If you break the 2014 one, it uses a different SMC than 2013, which is harder to find, therefore higher difficulty score.
We got Chooch and Pixies.
I'm in China in business and going to Shenzhen. Any parts you might be interested in? Yes, 0005 and 0001 graphics chips. Please! No more fakes. If I cannot scratch the number off, then it's bull. Has Apple threatened to sue him for some bogus reason? Have Apple threatened to sue you for a bogus reason?
Apple has threatened a lot of my friends. Apple has not threatened me. We have a good friend. His name is Tim Hicks. He's out of Australia, and he was posting repair manuals for all kinds of things, and he's gotten nasty takedown requests. Toshiba threatened to sue him. We've got some other friends that have been threatened to sue by some medical device manufacturers. Apple is just waiting for somebody to make a misstep and send their lawyers after them. So this is a fight for our life in the industry. The manufacturers do not want anyone tinkering with products. Their perspective is they make it, they sell it to you, but it's still theirs.
Is there anyone working on right to repair in Canada? I'd be interested in helping.
Yeah, so if you're interested in retro repair in Canada, we don't have a concerted campaign happening right now. We're interested in making it happen. So what I would recommend is email repair.org. There's some other folks that have been interested. But also just reach out to your local legislator. The best thing that you can do if you want to make retro repair happen in your area, no matter where you live, is figure out who your closest local representative is and invite them to come out to your shop. Show them through your shop. Tell them what you do. Explain the problem. Tell them there's reference legislation, and maybe they'll be interested.
Try to start with the representative that didn't take $4,000 of Kim Robach's money. A student. Kyle, how does the micro soldering stuff sell on iFixit?
I think it's actually selling pretty well. So we've, thanks to, you and this community, you guys have asked us to sell more, and so we've been listing more. We're adding more products all the time. We've got an account with Hako now, so we can resell Hako products. So we're continuing to expand it, but I think it's really just going to be a representation of the interests of the community. We're not really expecting to make money off of it. We're mostly just doing it to support all of you.
Do you have any cool projects in the works that use a Raspberry Pi?
We've been tinkering. We were talking about we've been using Raspberry Pis to do some dashboards in the office, so like some community and traffic graphs. We were tinkering with something where we'd take a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino, and we'd have our server traffic, and then we'd hook it up to a fan, and then the more like views that we had on the website, the faster the fans would spin, and that seemed like fun.
I've thought of hooking up electronic devices to fans before, but in a very different way and much higher voltage. Is the IR6000 a decent BGA machine? No, it's a piece of shit. Don't buy that piece of crap. I have one at home. My kitty sleeps on it, and it's a great little kitty bed, but it's a way.
You leave it on so it's warm for the kitty?
Low temperature, 47. Does Kyle admit that WeHud drivers are better than iFixit?
No. We spend a lot of time assessing WeHud drivers and ours, and I don't think if you try our new stuff, I would say WeHud is better than some of our old drivers, but our new stuff I'd put up against them any day of the week. I think in a lot of ways, the driver handles are definitely superior, and I think we're pretty darn comparable to them in terms of tip quality.
I think a dissected Note 7 would be great in a T-shirt. They just want to... EU can go fuck themselves. I voted to leave and we won. Let's see. Nerdgasm killed one. Okay, so yeah, it was Barnacles that destroyed an HTC Vive via sweating.
Okay.
He killed a virtual reality headset through sweating. That's great. Samsung is the worst. I agree. Are Samsung OEM service packs actually really from Samsung?
I don't know.
Yeah, good question.
I know we can get parts from Samsung and sell them. They're just so expensive that it's hard to make it worthwhile.
Tell Samsung to stop putting adhesive in the back of their LCDs.
Amen. I tell them every day, every teardown. You see us reaming them in our repairability scores. Like, we know the adhesive sucks. We list it. We tell everybody publicly. When the S8 comes out, we will say it again if they do it again.
Do I read Uraz's comment or not read Uraz's comment? You know what? I'll save that for later. I'll make that decision when sober. What the... That is hardcore 4chan. That's your crap. Where does I leave off? Yeah. Do you appreciate the beauty of Apple products aesthetically and its intuitive OS?
Yeah.
Function over form, baby. I don't care what it looks like.
But that said, they're durable products.
I don't know what's in...
You compare an Apple laptop to like an Acer and a ASUS.
And like a piece of shit one, yeah. But like the $300 laptop's supposed to be a piece of shit. The $2,000 is not. If I treated that thing the way that... if I treated my T520 the way I treated an Apple, the Apple would be destroyed. And like intuitive, if I plug the phone into the computer and it doesn't show up as a flash drive, it's not worth more than $100 to me. There's nothing about it for me that's intuitive. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I'm open to that. Let's see. If you spell Samsung backwards in our country, it means you have a pile of crap. I'll take your word for it. Because you have little accent things in your name.
Slovenia is a gorgeous country.
It's
one of the prettiest countries in the world. I would love to go back. I have some friends there, and they're wonderful people.
Where can I find schematics? The internet. You know what? The internet.
Google harder.
Repair crews, they are big. You can find places to hide. Jessa told you that.
Yeah, there you go. ERC's at Halloween. There you go.
Cruise ship requires no planning. That's the benefit. Tarman says I get seasick. Which video is the kernel panic? You can check out the forum, which is linked below, and there'll be a topic that's stickied that says solution to the kernel panicking issue on the 820-3332. If you start getting them now, then you'll start getting them before the price of them goes up. So I would do it now. I see those machines selling for as low as $300 broken. This is a very easy way for you to make $500 before the end of tonight. And I'm not selling them. Let's see. What's the deal with the HTC One M8's defective screens? I have no idea. You think it's the end of large tech companies due to smaller good brands?
I think that the large tech companies are doing just fine. I'd like to see some of these competitors step up and continue to do well. Xiaomi and some of these other companies, I'd really like to see them step up. You know who I want to see do well is Fairphone. Have you seen the Fairphone?
No.
Fairphone is a small cell phone startup out of Amsterdam. They only sell phones in Europe, which is why you haven't seen them here. And they have a phone that's designed to be disassembled without any tools. You can do a display swap without a screwdriver. It's great. And they have a modular camera. So they just released a camera upgrade. So if you have a Fairphone, upgrade the camera. They have committed to making spare parts available at reasonable prices. And they're tracing the supply chain all the way through, paying their workers better to assemble the phone and really making sure that it's a ethically responsible phone. They're a great team. Any of you in Europe, if you're wondering what phone you should get to kind of feel a little bit better about it than Apple, go with the Fairphone. It's a great device.
I'm close to Canada. Lewis, I bought an Amscope something, whatever. I realized I don't have working ARE. Do you know anything I can do? What do you mean by working ARE? What am I missing? What is your typo? Is the owner of iFixit? Yes. Let's see. What about having a repair seminar instead of a cruise ship around the world in all the major cities?
Repair seminar would be cool. Would you? What if we did a tour in like 4 cities?
It was weirdly awkward because I went to this repair cafe. Have you done this?
Yeah. I
went to this one a year ago, and it was so weird because I showed up, and there was like a person fixing a fan. And the first thing I thought is, that's $8. Right. I would buy a new one. And then I move on to the next person. They're fixing a microwave, and I'm like, that's $40. I would buy a new one. And then everybody there was doing these like these things, and I thought it was just going to be where people who fix things talk. I didn't think it was actually going to be people showing up to fix shit. And then somebody's like, "Hey, I recognize you. I have this broken iPad." And it's like, no, I left work, and everybody there is looking at me weird, like I'm this asshole that didn't want to fix anything. And it's like, no.
Well, that's what repair cafes are. So repair cafe is a community nonprofit thing where the idea is let's get together and fix things for fun.
Oh God, yeah.
So I realize you do this all day, so this is anathema to you.
Yeah, and then another person had a MacBook, they're like, "Oh, yeah, the battery only charges when it's off." And I'm like, "Current." And he's like, "Can you show me where it is?" I'm, no, I'm done.
You went to the wrong place if you didn't.
I thought it was a cafe where repair people met and talked. I'm like, "Oh fuck, you're actually fixing things." No,
the idea of the repair cafe is it's for normal people that would never normally fix things.
Yeah, I got
them exposure to be able to fix stuff themselves.
I felt so bad. I got it completely backwards. I thought it was a meeting for people that do repair to not fix shit, but to socialize. Yeah. So I came after like a 10 or 12-hour day of work, and I get there, and it's like, no.
But the repair cafe thing is really cool. It can be great exposure for your shop to go. There are repair cafes all around the world. There's 1,100 in Europe alone. They're starting them up all over the place. They're really cool, and it's a good thing for repair shops to have a repair cafe in the community because people generally are going to make a decision between buying a new one and throwing it away. And if we can show there's a repair alternative, it's a really great thing.
Hey, thanks for your website. iFixit. You helped me replace my 3DS screen.
Hey, good for you.
Success story.
That's not a trivial repair either.
Will you be on the Engineering Commons again?
The Engineering Commons was a lot of fun. That was a cool show. I'm certainly open to it. They had a lot of great questions. What a smart group of hosts. It's I like it. I like it when shows are run by people that really know what they're doing. And the Engineering Commons guys are all engineers by day and run a podcast by night. They're bright people.
Raspberry Pi teardown troll tear down a real Pi. Michael Oberdick, why are you leaving 4chan comments? At any time, let me know when you're ready to be done, because it's getting late. Are iFixit battery quality cells with original Panasonic chips, or are they shit still? Ouch, burn. Chris Long's question. All right.
Chris, give our folks a chance. I mean, we as far as I know, we've got the best quality batteries in the industry. We got very low return rates, lower than anybody that I've ever heard of. I mean, we run them through extensive testing here in the USA, and we have a very good warranty on them. So give our batteries another chance.
Kyle,
feel free to reach out to our pro team too. It's just pro@ifixit.com, and they can give you more info.
Yeah, they have customer service. We don't. Just keep that in mind if you buy something off the website. Your customer service goes to like my email while I'm at the gym where I just hit delete. Right. Does iFixit have any way to help gather older working devices like iPhone 4 that have little value and get them to places in the world that need them?
That's a great question. I would like to do something like that. We really don't. I would say, something working like an iPhone 4, give it to Goodwill, give it to your local nonprofit, and then they'll sell it and get the money off of that. What you can do is, let's say that you have a device that we don't have a repair manual on iFixit for, like, say, a Hako 951, FX951. It'd sure be cool if iFixit would take that apart and write a repair manual for it. Send me one. So if we don't have one on iFixit, go ahead and just package it up, mail it to the address on our website, put it attention EDU, and it'll go to our education team. They'll get it to people that'll take it apart and write a repair manual.
Kyle or Lewis, do you ever browse 4chan, or have you since Moot sold the website?
Moot was such a cool guy. I got to say, I haven't been on 4chan much since Moot was gone. I just got so sad that he left.
I have a 4chan meme as my desktop wallpaper just yesterday, and I'll leave you to guess which one it is. But I've always had my desktop wallpaper as a revolving door of 4chan memes.
But those of us that have been running communities on the internet for as long as Moot and I have, there's kind of a small group of us that have to stick together.
Can you make Lewis a cheat sheet of different world currencies so he can stop saying someone just donated 20 sandstorms?
What's a sandstorm?
I don't know. People will, anytime somebody I know, like, there's a euro, there's a dollar, and then there's the foreign thing.
Okay.
And then I don't know what the fuck they are.
Yeah, maybe we can work on that.
Like, they have Z's in them and X's, and it's confusing. Has running a business ruined your personal life? What personal life? I guess I answered that question for me. You.
We're here it's a Friday night at 11 o'clock, and we're here hanging out with all y'all. So you interpret that how you will.
How much should I spend on a gift for a coworker that I accidentally... Oh, God damn it. I almost finished that question.
4chan!
There's no such thing as accidentally doing that. There are 18 forms of birth control. Now let's continue scrolling. At least 18 forms of female birth control, 1 form of male birth control. God damn. You caught me before I finished reading the question. I got ripped off buying a refurbished MacBook Pro 2008. I emailed the guy after a year. It did not even last, so apparently these had the NVIDIA chip issue. If you have a unibody model, replace C7771 with a non-tantalum. If it's a 2008 unibody one, where you can hit that little button and the battery pops out and the battery is a rectangle. If you got the model with the silver keys where the battery is a square, you got fucked, and there's nothing I can do for you. But if it's a unibody 2008, replace C7771. It'll be good as the day you bought it. No. 4chan. Let's see. I think we got to the end of the questions.
Okay, we're caught up. Cool.
So
well, is there any... I mean, there's got to be some high-level stuff we can talk about in addition to all the questions that we had.
Working on A1237 has 3 beeps on start. Throw it in the garbage. You have a bad MCP79U. Trash. Just throw it away. Actually, that's the antithesis of everything you've ever... Well, what's your answer to that?
My answer, well, I wouldn't throw it away. I'd take the board out and recycle the board with a responsible electronics recycler.
Of course, don't throw it. When I say throw it away to the electronics recycler.
Take the rest of the parts out of it and use them for something.
That's such a piece of shit machine. Repairs. Every single part of that.
But you're going to get one with a cracked screen. You can use a screen, or you could go and buy a functional board online and then install it, and then you got a new computer.
I hate the original Air. It's just a nightmare. That was one of the worst machines Apple ever made.
So what do you do? What do you do with all your scrap boards that... Are they going in the trash?
No,
the
they
boards
go in.
Not,
they go in the e-waste bin.
And then who takes your e-waste?
No, it's actually a funny story. We tricked our garbage company, and I don't know what the hell they did. They kept telling me $500 to $1,000 to pick up like this much. So this much e-waste.
Yeah.
They wanted $500 to $1,000, and then Steve somehow tricked them into picking up the e-waste in $5 to $10 elements, and it's labeled e-waste. They know it's e-waste. I don't know what the fuck he did, but he got them to... Because this is the thing. All of the garbage companies we had, they used to just pick up our e-waste. So once a week, they would charge us $100 or $50 and pick it up. That company stopped doing it altogether. They added the $50 into our garbage contract, but then they said we don't pick up e-waste anymore. So they're charging us for e-waste pickup, but they don't pick up e-waste. And a lot of the New York garbage companies started doing this, which is complete bullshit. And when you call them, they will not pick to get an affordable rate on e-waste. You have to have about this entire room filled with it. Like if I say I want to throw away this much e-waste, they want $500 to $1,000. So I don't know what he did to trick our garbage company into taking them for $5 a box, but he did, and hopefully they're not watching this.
All right.
But I was really peeved over the past year at how many garbage companies stopped taking e-waste for any amount of money.
Yeah, well, the reason is that commodity prices tanked, and so all the recyclers raised their prices.
Yeah.
Since then, commodity prices have come back up a little bit, so
I
I
personally don't know any repair shop in this area, and there's one that I used to work for that doesn't throw their e-waste in the garbage. Like there's one in Midtown, they sneak their e-waste into the building garbage. There's two others that sneak it into the Chinese restaurant next door's garbage, and I'm not going to say the names of them because that's mean, but yeah. I genuinely don't know repair shops in New York City that throw their e-waste away properly.
That's a complete catastrophe. The amount of energy and precious metals in those things are so significant. You have to get it recycled somehow. It's worth the money for you to be able to advertise to your customers. Like, make sure if you've got electronics that you're getting it to a recycler that's dealing with it. You can take it to Best Buy. You can take your bucket to Best Buy, and they'll take it.
I know somebody that used to take theirs to TechServe when they were open, but TechServe supposedly stopped taking it, so they would just walk into TechServe, go to the counter with their box, and leave it, and then just run out the door. Which is, I mean, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but I get it.
So in the New York area, ERI handles a lot of the municipal waste, and they do a really good job. You want to make sure that it goes to someone who is either R2 or E-Storage certified. But it's really, really essential that this stuff not go in the landfill. There's too much valuable materials in it. And for the repair community to have a good name, to be able to say that we're providing an environmentally preferable service, we have to make sure that we're recycling this stuff.
I agree with you. And it really pisses me off that all these garbage companies stop taking e-waste just because it stopped being as profitable. Because like I know that if the garbage company says to a small business that it's going to be $1,000 to pick up your little garbage pail worth of e-waste, that small business is going to say, fuck this, I'm throwing it in the trash. And like, I mean, I started this business with $200, so I understand where they're coming from. I used to just pile it in my apartment, and I said someday I'm going to be able to afford to throw this away. And when that happened, I threw it away. But I know a lot of people that don't bother doing that.
Well, take it to Best Buy; it'll be free there.
So take it to Best. So if I take a cart to Best Buy, they're not going to tell me to get out.
I mean, they have like.
Are they nicer in San Luis Obispo?
Well, you're gonna have to you might have to take smaller amounts at the time.
Or just leave it at the counter and run away?
I think they'll take anything but CRTs.
If people do that with babies at the hospital, I should be allowed to do it with e-waste at Best Buy.
You could probably dump your e-waste at the ERI facility.
Let's see. It's getting... These are... Hopefully you have a better fan base than I do for these questions. Why are iFixit shipping charges so expensive to Canada? Can I steal this one for you? Can I pretend I know the answer?
Sure.
Because every time we ship stuff to other countries, they file chargebacks when it takes longer than 2 days. So to counter the cost of the chargebacks, or even just Canada, because it may actually take more than 3 days to get your product if you live in another country, we jack up the shipping rates on international shipping to make up for all the chargebacks. That's my answer. What's yours? You probably have a much more professional
it's not really
answer.
chargeback so much. We don't have chargeback problems with Canada. We just have shipping, and then customs is expensive. I'm working very hard on a solution to that, and I hope in the next 6 months to have a solution to be able to lower shipping rates to Canada, because I know it's really frustrating.
Every single chargeback we've had on everything from Flux to whatever has been international. So I personally, there's a little checkbox in my website based on zip code, and every time I get a chargeback that's international, I just raise it by 1%, and that's where I... you think it's bad buying from Canada? Try buying from Australia.
Yeah, I'm working on fixing Australia, too. We're in the process of setting up a warehouse in Australia, so shipping prices ought to be a lot better.
See, he's actually trying. Okay. Is the Hacko 810 worth $800? Fuck no. It has an alarm clock interface. I really liked a lot of the Hacko stuff, but do you sell this Quick thing? This Quick 861?
I don't know.
I can't find this anywhere, so if you start selling it, you would probably kill every other vendor selling it, because when I Google it, so people ask me to buy it, and I can only find it on Alibaba, and there was one vendor that had it on Amazon that doesn't. So if you sold...
So you want to try it?
It's like some $350 or $400 station that is supposed to be as good as this $600 to $800 one that I have, except it has a digital interface.
I'll look into it.
So if you and it's $300 to $400, so people will actually buy it, which is more than I can say for this thing.
So can we talk about SpaceX?
What's SpaceX?
SpaceX is the rocket company.
Oh, SpaceX launching their rockets. Tell me about this. I'm
SpaceX
ignorant.
is Elon Musk's company, so they've been working on building rockets for the last 10 years, and they finally were able to launch a rocket for the second time. So the same rocket that took off, landed, launched it again, they're able to reuse a rocket. And this is the most exciting thing. I mean, this is phenomenal. This is what's going to be able to lower the cost of access to space by 10x. And eventually, maybe we'll get to a point where we can get to space and we can mine asteroids for raw materials. Things like iridium. So iridium is a metal that's used to manufacture electronics. There's only a couple tons of it everywhere in the world that we know about. We're going to run out of it. Indium is the same thing. We're projected to run out of the indium that makes the touchscreens by 2050. So either we need to get a hell of a lot better at recycling this stuff, we need to make less of it, or we need to get new metals off of these asteroids.
Are touchscreens still going to be using the same material 30 or 40 years from now? Is that good?
Are we still going to be using touchscreens?
Imagine if that guy goes to space to mine an asteroid and comes back and they're like, oh, yeah, we use something else for our touchscreens now. Yeah.
But things like
I'm
platinum,
sure you got great pictures for Instagram.
We're going to need platinum. Platinum's the first thing they'll be mining in space.
That's interesting. I think that's definitely cooler than that whole mission to Mars thing. What do you think of the one-way mission? The people that were doing the one-way mission to Mars.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit. I met one of them.
The one-way part is the part that
Yeah, when I was in
me.
Australia, I met their one-way astronaut. I have a friend who spent a year in a dome on in Hawaii, pretending to be getting ready for the Mars mission to see what the social environment was. And it turns out it was a pretty challenging social environment. I don't know if I'd want to spend a year with people much less the rest of my life.
Yeah, because it is one way.
Yeah, but I think that if some people want to go one way and they're firmly committed and they want to do it, we as society ought to welcome that. We ought to be okay with it.
How different am I in person than my online persona, says Jessa.
He's not such a bad guy. I know he's gotten a bad rap from all y'alls over the years.
I deserve it.
Lewis is not the worst guy in the world. Lewis bought me dinner, and I'm very appreciative. Yeah, and it wasn't. I don't think he poisoned me. We'll find out tomorrow. But yeah, pretty nice guy.
Working on MacBook Air A1237 3 beats. Garbage. Okay, e-waste, but still, throw it away. Unless you can go mine an asteroid and find an MCP-79U, you're gonna throw it away because there is no such thing as a new MCP-79U. Or you could buy one on AliExpress. Good luck with that one. The Hacko hot air station is with 800 too. That's the thing. Like, if at least I remember when Jessa and I bought it, it just showed up dead on arrival, and it has that alarm clock interface where it's like if you want to change the temperature, it's like setting the alarm clock on your 1980s Sony Dream Machine. There's something about that just, Hacko don't need repair manual. They don't break. That's one thing I will say about Hacko is that it almost never breaks. Unless you're Jess and you got the dead on arrival one.
All right, folks, ask your last questions. We're gonna answer the rest of the questions and then wrap up.
We got to get out of here. He has a life and a company. iFixit affiliate link in the future.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
They probably have them. Let's see. TU on his right to repair. A1260. Garbage. Sounds like someone bought a Duke eBay sale. Yeah, don't buy A1237s, especially if the eBay username is the guy from my forum. Actually, if anything you see on eBay looks like it came from the guy from my forum, you might just want to avoid it.
So Michael wants to know if right to repair would pass, would things change quickly enough to help in the next 12 to 24 months? If right to repair passed, the way that the bill is written, companies would need to immediately start selling parts. So I think there's a possibility with the iPhone 8 OLED switch, if we get right to repair passed this year, to save businesses in that regard. It certainly would help making information available right away. So maybe some of these devices where we don't have fixes, if we have a little more information, we might be able to do something. So I think I'm really optimistic. If we can get it passed, I think it's going to really dramatically change things. Samsung's going to have to start opening things up. It also ought to open up some of the Android devices that we can't get parts for, because that's really been the challenge with some of the long tail fringe Android devices is you just can't get parts. So I think, yeah, within 12 to 24 months of it passing, we're going to see a big difference. But we got to get on the other side of that legislation
Justin,
first.
please stop asking good questions so we can go.
Yeah.
What's your argument for schematics not being protected under the legal definition of trade secret? It seems like electrical design document would not be excluded.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to what the definition of schematics. The thing is that, I mean, on the one hand, the bill says trade secret. On the other hand, it says you must provide schematics. It may take a lawsuit in addition to the legislation to get schematics opened up. I'm not sure. I think that's something. And if anyone out there is a lawyer, has access to a lawyer, and has ideas on how to improve the legislation, we're all ears. Right now, the legislation says you have to make schematics available, but it also says manufacturers shouldn't need to share trade secrets. And so then the question is a schematic a trade secret? I would argue no. They would argue yes, and the court will decide.
I need tips helping to figure out what soldering tips to buy for my Hacko. If only somebody had links to them in the description. Thank you for making iFixit website. You guys help a lot of people. This is the guy that fixed his 3D something.
Awesome. Well, you're very welcome.
Or 360 something.
And we'll keep adding to iFixit. If any of you know something that's missing from iFixit, it's a wiki. Anyone can contribute. So take some pictures, upload them to the site. That's the seed of a manual.
Sonny, stop trolling. Let's see. Jessa says, Sonny, if you're using iFixit screens, then I am Britney Spears. Sonny is not. All right, time to get out of here. At least Lewis is not a prick. That's not true. I'll take that as a quote. Okay. I see you. Yeah, that's about it. All right.
Cool.
Time to let him go home, and time for me to sleep off my.
Yeah. So final comment: the aftermarket auto market had the problem, and it's true. They did, and they passed right to repair legislation, and it substantially fixed the issue. So all we want, and for the rest of the industry, is what the auto market has. And the auto aftermarket, you can go to a local neighborhood shop. They've got access to all the OEM information. They don't have to pay different for it. And they're able to get OEM parts. They're able to get aftermarket parts. It's a good system for everybody. So that's what we need to be aiming for with the electronics world.
I agree.
And I'm really honored to have a partner here working on the fight. I mean, it really takes a community effort of a lot of folks. I mean, I'm out here from California. You're fighting the good fight from New York, and we're gonna get them. We're gonna win this thing.
Hopefully, before my lease is over, we have the ability to.
I
not
think
steal.
so. All right, night, everybody. This has been fun.
Time to get out of here. Thank you for coming on. And